they are as an individual, very deep sort of conversations. Because obviously, someone like you who came from your country and actually launched a massive, huge business, and at the same time became a lord, is such an extraordinary thing. So my question to you, first of all, is, Lord Ranger, how are you? You know, you've obviously done so well in your life. How are you mentally?
Mentally, mentally, I'm very agile. Physically, I'm not as agile as I once was. So
Mm.
mentally, it's fine. Physically, we are now getting on a bit. I'm 79 years old, and I work all my life, equivalent to at least two people, day and night to build where we are. Because without effort, without hard work, sacrifice, you can hardly achieve much. So therefore, I was very fortunate that I arrived in United Kingdom. But I came here to study, by the way, in 1971 May. I remember the date, 22nd of May 1971. Then my brother was here already. He was a teacher. He warned me not to come here. It's a very tough life, and I was telling him that you are just jealous. You don't want me to have a good time. And in the end, he said, "Up to you. You want to come? Come." So I had a motorbike. I was doing very well. I was staying in a place called Chandigarh, and I sold my motorbike, sold every bits and pieces, whatever I had, and I managed to get a ticket on the cheapest airline. That was Kuwait Airways. I remember why coming via Kuwait to when I landed here after 2 days excitement, it began to dawn on me that I made one of the biggest blunders of my life. It was a cultural shock because I had not expected, half of the time I couldn't understand the language, because there were a lot different accent in United Kingdom and India, and so it was. And I came from a country. It was a very struggling country, India. We have very little reputation in United Kingdom. We had no track record of success. We were treated poorly, which is understandable because we were a colony of United Kingdom. They ruled us for 200 years, and then today, here we are in their country. Uh, Problem with English, problem with color, problem with culture, problem with everything. So it was tough, but uh, I was very fortunate uh, because I decided to go back. I want to tell you that frankly that I wanted to go back to India, and wherever I went, they asked, I wanted to make up my money so I could go back and buy motorbike again. So wherever I went, they asked for experience. Have you got experience? And I had no experience. So I said, I'm just a freshie from the university. But in the end, reluctantly, I took a job as a car cleaner. So I was cleaning cars and I was really regretting what I've done myself. But then he said, but I had a hope that I'll make money and I'll go back. And then my luck changed. I was walking home from work and there was a sign, Kentucky Fried Chicken opening soon, cook required, no experience needed. So I walked in, I said, I'm looking for a job. So he said, fine, we'll give you 35p an hour and we'll show you how to fry chicken, the way they make it. So I joined KFC uh, also in 1971, and then I was working day and night. I had very positive attitude. I never give them lip service or whatever they say. Yes, sir. I was only there for money. So I just wanted to get the money, get the hell out of here, which I wanted to go back to my country. But I was educated. I had value system which I inherited from India, loyalty, hard work, so all these things helped me because value system is very important. My mother was a teacher because perhaps my father was assassinated before my birth. We were in Pakistan, which became Pakistan. I was 2 months old when, sorry, my father was a very prominent leader. He was against the partition of India. He pleaded with the Muslim leader not to cut and run. India will be secular, democratic country. One person, one vote. Together will make our destiny. But unfortunately, the Hindus and Sikhs were very prosperous in that country. But people went for them. They really lot of things. So one day, my father was in court. He was, there was riots in the city. Students had taken a procession against partition. They got caught in communal riot. My father, being a local leader, went to rescue them. The students were managed to escape, but my father was killed at the age of 44. So my mother became widow at the age of 35. So then we had to leave the country because there was so much hatred generated, smash and grab. The people were just taking everything in the name of religion. So we came to station, but thankfully my father's reputation saved us. The engine driver, my mother was very intelligent. She went to the engine driver, told who she was, and he said, "Oh yes, I read that in the newspaper. He was a great man." So he allowed us to sit on the cold tender, where the train, the engine keeps cold. So we sat on the coals. We were black. My mother tells me we were all black, clothes black, faces black, and every time the engine whistled, I used to go blue with fright. So my brother kept their hands on my ears, and a 3 hour journey took 14 hours. Train was looted on the way, and eventually we came to a refugee camp, which was opened by Maharaja Patera. So my life started in India, two months old, without father, without ancestral home, without country, without everything, nothing. But we were blessed with a remarkable mother. We were eight of us, seven brothers, one sister. Her family said, give them to orphanage. You won't be able to look after them at this age. You're 35, you're young. She said, I'll never give up. I'll never give in, no matter what fate throws at me. So I will work. So luckily, she was educated. This is why I keep pleading to people: education for women is prerequisite for civil society. So she got a job in a kindergarten school, and then she was, small salary, and the local leaders helped us with the education of my family, free education, and my mother brought us up through immense difficulty. She'll go out and get, cast-off clothes from rich people, which we used to wear. But her words were, "You will starve, but you will study." So
Mm.
luckily, we everybody realized that they have gone through a catastrophe. They cannot afford to misbehave. So they all played the right, and they all done very well in studies. So one of my brothers joined the Indian Army when he turned 16. When we came from that country, he was 14 years old and I was 2 months old. In between, we were so many. So he got the job as a commission officer. He joined the Indian Army. So we realized the army is the easy way out of poverty. So one by one, five brothers joined the Indian Army because we had no money for engineering or doctor, medicine or whatever. So my mother became the proudest Indian mother, the same destitute woman, having a courage, determination, not to give up, not to give in. Those values I had came with to United Kingdom, that I will never give in. And she always told me, son, you should never be embarrassed of work, no matter how menial work you do, but you should be embarrassed of stealing or you should be embarrassed of doing something wrong. So I was blessed with that kind of mother. So I came, and from there I worked hard in KFC, and they made me assistant manager. From assistant manager, I became manager, and from manager to district manager, number one district manager in the company. I was very hardworking. I was very grateful to the people who gave me a job, and I forgot about India because then I got married in the end.
Do you think, though, Lord Ranger, obviously the sacrifices that you've done in terms of obviously being, let's just be honest, I mean, as you said, being brown, being obviously, how the world was, London, England was, from years ago, how segregating it was in terms of discrimination. Do you think that gave you the urge to prove more and gave you the confidence in order to change your life?
I had a feeling that people, I didn't blame them because I wanted to remain positive, and I also realized that I don't have a divine right to be liked or respected. I have to earn my respect, I have to earn my living, which I did. Once people got to know me, even the English bosses will select me in comparison to others, in preference to others. So I was very lucky because perception of people have to be changed because they had a perception. 200 years of rule of India, country of snake charmers and beggars and God knows what you saw on the TV. But anyway, remain positive in a negative situation and then you will win in the end. As long as you are benefiting the people. You have to be an asset. An asset of you will always look after liability. You will always throw away the liability. You don't want to carry on. So I worked hard and I became number one district manager on 400 shops. I had 10 shops, by the way. There were so many district managers, but I was number one because I worked very hard. It's simple as that. You know, you don't have to be engineer or rocket scientist to know that the more effort you put in, the more achievement you will have. So I realized my handicap drawback, but I realized that I'll have to do a little bit extra to the guy next door to be ahead of the game. So that's how I started. Then I was made redundant. I joined McCain International. Uh, from McCain, again, I did very well. And then, because if you're not fit for small job, you're never fit for bigger job. So my job was to make sure that I was above the rest. So therefore, and then eventually I got a job with Curry's electrical wholesale retailers as a manager in Cheapside. And I again worked very hard. I was very customer centric because my mother had taught me few things that the customers like God. They have come to give you something. Respect them. Praise them, worship them. Because without customer, you have no business and you have no salary. They are the one who pay you salary. So my mother's teaching helped me along the line. So yeah, go on.
Lord Ranger, it's great that you're having this discussion with us. And obviously, the life that you've earned, obviously at the same time, obviously being a very wealthy individual and coming from India, and coming from Asia to be able to change your life. What does money mean to you? Because obviously money, there's a saying in life that we come in this world naked and we go home. Obviously, we cannot take our money with us. But obviously, at the same time, money is also very important because it gives us satisfaction and advantages. Do you agree or not agree?
One thing I agree with you, but at the same time, money is a mean, not the end of life. You
Mm,
cannot earn money at any cost
mm,
because money earned with the wrong method will end put you in the wrong places as well. So
mm,
my mother told me, son, you earn money for respect. When you have no respect, what's the point of having money? Even the drug dealer will have money. So for that reason, I said I want to earn honor as well.
mm,
So I ended up receiving 8-time honor from Her Majesty the Queen, our late Queen. She gave me honor for 6 times for business, twice for community service, and then I ended up in House of Lords because I had never put focus on money because I realized I have only one life and I don't want to waste it just earning and drop dead while earning money. But I want to do something else as well. So I done a lot of charitable work, adding value to society because I benefited from society so much. You know, lots of charitable work I've done. I've done a lot of support University of South London, University of West London, because I believe students are the future of United Kingdom, and they should be given as much support as we can because we are a knowledge-based economy. We are not like China. We can make things cheaper. So our student has to be at the cutting edge of technology and knowledge and everything. For that reason, I mentor youth. I go with Princess Trust. I go and give talk to disaffected youth that you don't need a rich father, you don't need a elite education or family wealth. What you need is certain value which my mother gave me. You have to have self-respect, work ethic, commitment, vision, and empathy. Without self-respect, you'll cut corner, you'll come late, you will not be, respected, you delay work, whatever, and you will not have respect, and then you will not build your position in your company. And you have to have commitment, no matter how clever you are. If you're not committed to your work and you keep watching clock, then you'll continue to watch clock while other people surge ahead. So commitment is very important. Uh, Ethics are very important. You can't have an attitude, I'm all right, Jack, while your customer or suppliers are suffering. Because it's a chain that you have to respect your supplier who supply you product, customer who buy your product, and the staff who help you move forward. So my staff are like my family. I empower them, I educate them, I take them to trade shows for them to learn. Because at the end of the day, uh, they are the investor of the company. What they do not know themselves, that they cannot impart. So therefore, it's a very simple value system I had no father, no elite education, no family wealth, no old schoolboy network and stuff. I was an immigrant. I had everything, hostile, prejudice, racism, and bigotry I had to put up with. But I just, prejudice is everywhere. You have to ignore it. Even a black will have a prejudice against African black or Caribbean black. The Muslim will have a, again, problem with Muslim. Hindu will have Hindu. Sikh will have Sikh. So there is always a prejudice, even in every society. White will also have some problem with white people. So best ignore, because once you focused on your objective, then you have to carry on, and then all this distraction you just have to ignore. So that's how, from I started from curries, and that's where I saw people were buying electrical goods, TVs, videos, microwave, computers, and they were buying them, and we were shipping them unaccompanied to their country in Africa most of the time, because Japanese had not gone to Africa at that time. So Britain had a connection with Commonwealth, so most people came, bought their shopping, met their pet. So unaccompanied baggage is much cheaper than accompanied baggage. 20 pound, 1 pound unaccompanied. So people prefer unaccompanied. So I saw that and I said, this is a very interesting job. You just have to take the goods, take it to the airport and make 30, 40 pound per shipment. So I started my freight forwarding company, Sea, Air and Land, in a shed, like Shore Guard. Have you heard of Shore Guard? From there I bought a small room, 125 pound a month, and I had a battered Cortina which I will drive to Tottenham Court Road, Edgware Road, and I'll tell them, look, I can take your product to destination in Africa, Caribbean, wherever, and give you better price, better service, and try me. And I realized that my reputation travels on the cargo. So I'll make sure it's all packed nicely, secured, so there's no damage, no pilferage. And my reputation grew and grew and grew. And my business just went through the roof because, service industry, you will never change your doctor, accountant, or solicitor unless they're really bad. They are either taking advantage of you. You service industry, you will not change your barber even. Yes, so that is the service. And I realized that they prefer me because they know I can trust. So they started moving their household goods, personal effect, this fact. My business just snowballed, and because I was growing 30% year on year on year, and if you grow your business 30% 4 years consecutively, you are entitled to Queen's Award for exports, which I received in 1999. And I went to see with my wife. She was dressed in a sari, very nicely, Bollywood queen, and I was there in a bed with Katrina, right in the Buckingham Palace to receive the award. And they thought I was a taxi driver. So he said, "You stand here, the man will come with me." I said, "Look, I also come to see the queen." Then he realized, so I went there. There was an unbelievable moment in my life. Here is an immigrant. At time he had no shoes, and he was very humble, beginning. And today he was standing in front of Her Majesty the Queen, the icon, the world's icon, the most loved queen in the world. And I was standing there, and she came, and she shook hands with me, and I bowed. And then the Duke of Edinburgh was there, and they chatted with us, what do you export, what blah blah blah. And that night day was something I could never forget. That a humble immigrant growing up in India saw Queen on her coronation or whatever on TV, splendor, and there he was standing there in Buckingham Palace. Amazing. And that shows the strength of this great country, that diversity is accepted, respected, and protected with law. Nobody can discriminate people on basis of their color, race, religion. So that's the strength of this tiny country, which has ruled the world and touched the life of almost everyone in the world.
No, that's excellent, Loaranga. It's obviously, what you've done is remarkable. No one can say otherwise, in terms of what you've done. My other question now is, obviously, to build an empire, rejection is the key. Sometimes in order to get where you need to be, because we have also young viewers who are going to be watching this and going, well, okay, he did so well and he got to a place where he became a lord, member of the House of Lords, and also at the same time, meeting the Queen, etc. Obviously, being an immigrant when coming to this country, how do you deal with rejection, or how did you deal with rejection when you started your career, and how do you deal with it now?
Okay, I will tell you one story because again, my mother, I had no father, so my mother played a very important role. She was my father and mother.
Mm.
Her, it's all about value system. If you remember the word value, if you got the good value, you're a good person. You have bad value, you're a bad person. Simple as that. My mother told me because she said, son, the world run on the basis of good people. You will always find somebody who is willing to help you. So never give up, never give in. Because it was true in her life when she was really struggling with 8 children and just a teacher, and she'll go for help to people. Some helped her, some didn't help her. So this stayed in my mind that somebody somewhere will be willing to help me. So when I wanted to buy my first warehouse, because I was in shore guard, and I wanted to buy a warehouse, uh, I had the money, 30,000 pound deposit, 10%, whatever the cost was. I had security in my own house. I had business plan and everything. So I went to see my bank manager, and I said, look, I'm paying, at that time, I was paying, I had grown, so I was paying 900 pound a month rent. And I worked out that if I buy my warehouse, and they'd allow me only 9 to 5, and then 6 o'clock I have to go. I cannot open it. Saturday, Sunday I can't open it. So if I buy my warehouse, my installment will be 600 pound, and I'll have the access to 24/7. And I've been with you for 20 years. I've never overdrawn. I've always been fair. And he looked at my face and he said, oh, ho, 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 ho. I don't think this is a very ambitious plan. I don't think the bank can support it. It was a shock to me that I had everything the bank needed, security, the plan, the income, the wealth. But the bank manager thought I was just overambitious. So I left that bank. I've crossed, high street in those days. Every bank was in the high street at that time. So I went to another bank and I said, look, I need help. I want to see the bank manager. And they said, have you got an appointment? I said, no. Oh, he won't see you. He's very busy. So I left to third one. And the third bank said, sorry, you're not our customer, so it's not easy. We can't lend you the money. The fourth bank, just, would you believe, I said, I want to see the bank manager. I was looking more whiter than the white at that time, believe you me. I really don't know what to do. My heart was set on buying this warehouse. So immediately the manager came out. Can I help you? And I said, yes, sir. I've been with this bank manager for 20 years. I have money, I have this and that, and I need to, it's a question of my life and death. I cannot grow the business if I don't have it. His two words was, how soon you want the money? I was stunned. I said, within 7 days. He said, don't worry, go, you have it. So today I have 20 warehouses. Can you imagine that one step? So that person for me was a god who helped me buy the first warehouse, and from there I never looked back. So therefore, never give up. That's what I'm telling my fellow young people. Never give up. Never take no for an answer. People do not know your potential. You know your potential. So don't let them decide your fate. So that's my advice to your young listeners.
I'm very proud and very honored to have this discussion with you, Lord Ranger, because obviously it shows how resilient you are as an individual and you're able to overcome the obstacles. So, my other question is, do you still have fire in your stomach? Obviously, you've earned the life you've earned, and obviously made the money you've had, and obviously being a lord. Do you still, in your opinion, are you content, or do you think that there is more to improve, or do you have more that you want to inspire or create more projects for your life and your generations?
Very good question, Kiran. Look, life is a one-time offer. I'm very fortunate to have this life, and I'm
Mm,
very fortunate to be in United Kingdom,
mm,
where British sense of tolerance and fair play has allowed me to achieve what I've achieved.
mm,
The people were so many. less people were against me, more people were in my favor. Otherwise, if people had not helped me, I wouldn't be where I am today. I have business in 130 countries. I received unprecedented Queen's Award. I've got a huge standing in the. It's all because of the system in this country is a positive system. It works for you if you are willing to work. So this life, as long as I can continue work, I will continue to add value to the country, which gives me so much. I support the armed forces. I support the charities like Combat Stress. Do a lot of work for the women empowerment because from my position, I host many events in the House of Lords just to help the community showcase what they are trying to do. Because people help me, so I got to repay my debt also. You're not born rich. I wasn't born rich anyway. So people help me, so I have to help. So I'm always going to take advantage of as long as I'm alive and able to function, physically and mentally. I'll be always accessible to people, and that's what people said to me many times that this is the quality we like. That you're approachable. I said, look, I'm not, royalty. I'm just an ordinary, humble guy. I've gone through, all the suffering in my life, and I know what ambition mean to you, because an ambitious person benefits his family, his community, his country. So I respect people who have ambition and who want to add value to their own family and to the wider society.
Do you also think, though, Lord Ranger, in order to be successful or in order to create a business, you have to have healthy obsession? Because without obsession, or you're not really focused on it, you will never get there. Do you agree or disagree?
100% I agree. What drive you, what motivates you is your ambition, your desire to reach a destination. For example, uh, you first of all you have to spot opportunities. Yes, because you have to have, as I say, always say that we are all blessed with sight, but very few people also have vision to see beyond the obvious. So you should be able to see opportunities when they came to you. For example, when I started freight forwarding, I was collecting cargo from people, British supermarket product, branded product. I was collecting, consolidating into containers. A lot of people were having difficulty sourcing product. So I said, help them, I help myself. So I started to source product for them. And believe you me, one good turn deserves another. Because I was not making profit on the product, I was making profit on the shipping. They were now saving £200 or £2,000 per container. My office had a queue of people willing to do business with me because you make profit while buying. If your buying is right, your selling is right. So believe you me, my business just snowballed, and then I came to my idea. There's a market for Mercedes, but there's also a market for Toyota. Not everybody can buy Chanel bag, but they still need a good bag. So let me now go back to the same companies and ask them to make product under my brand as you make for Asda, Tesco, Sainsbury, under their brand. But the difference is I am not going to patronize my customer by calling my product value, basic. I'm going to give them beautiful names, royalty, English breeze, golden country, pure heaven. All these nice. Why should I just have horrible looking brown bag that to tell you that you can only afford this product? So I gave the customer a feel good factor, and also I gave them exactly the same product which they were buying but under my brand and 30% cheaper. So that formula took the business in 20 years to nearly 200 million pounds. It was unbelievable for me to be, receiving a Prime Minister of United Kingdom to my office to give me the fifth Queen's Award. He said, "How do you do it? What are you smuggling?" I said, "Come and have a look." So he was very impressed, and that's how the story that you have to spot the opportunity and then you have to capitalize on that. Don't miss it, and then make sure excellence endures long after everything else is forgotten. If you have a quality is very important because people always remember. If I ask you how much you pay for this shirt, you won't remember, or jacket, but you remember the quality. So I had a good training from multinational that we have to make sure that people are happy with the product, the quality. At the end of the day, product has to do the talking.
I'm going to ask you more of a deeper psychology question, Lord Ranger, something that, I want to go more explore. Now, you are an inspiration to people in India, in Asia, who managed to sell his motorbike and come to UK and at the same time to fund a one-way trip here in terms of a flight. Now, as you know, Lord Ranger, the world is not as giving as it was once before. Now, obviously, you've got many Indians, and at the same time people that are not as lucky in terms of fortune, who are living in villages in India that want to come to the UK and do exactly what you've done. What advice would you give to people that don't necessarily have families that are financially stable, and at the same time don't have the courage or the confidence to move to the UK or move anywhere in Europe, but at the same time when they do come to India, or they do come to the UK, sorry, they end up doing a 9 to 5 job because they're so scared to launch a business? What would you tell them?
Well, it's a very good question again. First thing first, the world has changed, as you rightly say. Britain does not need, immigrant as once did after Second World War. Britain was devastated. They were reconstructing, rebuilding. A lot of people were needed in, hospitals and transport and teacher, school, medical, all sorts of things. It's all gone now, and now it's a very competitive Britain.
Mm.
Britain does not want unskilled workers. They want skilled people, high achiever, who can add value to their country. So immigration is still open to those people, and immigrants are still coming from different countries to fill the gap which are here, to fulfill. I was just yesterday. I was looking at. They are even asking people to come and work for barbers and restaurant chefs. There's still vacancies for those people. Priests, for example, they still need priests. They need barbers. They need, they also need, you know, many people in different fields. The British High Commissioner will have the list of profession required in the United Kingdom. So therefore, so that's number one. Number two, you should also know that India itself is now number fourth world economy. There is no need for you to sacrifice pay prices because you see me today end product, but you have no idea that I was working 15 hours a day, 7 days a week, and I was smelling like Kentucky Fried Chicken at times. Yes. So what you see is the end product. I've been here 55, 56 years to see me at this stage. But in the beginning, it was very, very tough because I stayed in rooms where I lived in the fourth floor and the toilet was on the ground floor. So you can imagine in the winter, trying to go and, it was a nightmare. But that was suffering for me because I had nothing, in the, my mother was a teacher. I wasn't rich to that extent. So my advice to the next generation is first you have the qualification. Second, you must make sure try your luck in the country you have because it's much easier there. Number three, if you really want to come here, you should come here to study first for 2, 3 years to become accustomed to the culture and the values, the system that you study here, and then government is giving you 2 years work permit. Then after finishing your qualification, you can work for 2 years. Within 2 years, if you find a sponsor with your qualification, then it's this one. Otherwise, this is very bad to, I was a single young man, I could live, but for a married person to take a chance, I would not recommend.
It's great that we can have this debation, Lord Ranger, and it's always great that we can, have this healthy debation. My argument to that is, well, okay, fair enough. At the same time, you're absolutely correct. People, should stay in India, and also at the same time being the fourth world economical country in the world in terms of, finance and etc. But they're also going to say, well, okay, fair enough. We've obviously given a status in like we all know that immigration issues in the UK are, at a point where, we end up criticizing people that come to this country. But at the same time, I also have colleagues of mine who are from India that are highly educated. You are clearly highly educated in order to achieve the life that you've done. But they have degrees like science or astronauts or astrology or whatever, but they come here and they have dead end jobs in terms of being a chef. How can we change that, Lord? How can we change that, Lord Ranger, in the United Kingdom?
This is again very intelligent question, and I tell you something. As I said, you have to have a vision, because
Mm,
without vision, you're headless chicken. You're
mm,
unable to find your destination. First thing first, it doesn't matter at what level you start business, your job. What matters is that the company you work for has opening for promotion and growth. Can you grow with that company? I will tell you example. When I joined the Kentucky Fried Chicken shop, I also had an interview with a fish and chip shop. KFC was paying me at that time, I think, 10 pounds or something a week, and the fish shop was paying me 11 pounds a week. And I asked the guy, what will be my promotion prospect here? He looked at me and he says, you and me. Yeah, what prospect? Yes. But KFC, they said, you will be assistant manager, manager, district manager, regional manager. So I took the 1 pound less because of this opening and the growth potential. Similarly, if people, doesn't matter at any level you start of the profession of your own choice, with a company which is a big company and going to expand, you start at any level, but you can work your way up through your effort, your qualities. They will, as they say, when sun rises, the world come to know. So your quality will automatically be noticed by your colleague, by your superior, and you can't hold a good person down. If you do, you keep your company down. So no one in the business will hold good people down and hope to have a good company. Unlike politics, where people undermine others, in business we respect people who want to develop their career.
People say, Lord Ranger, people in your position, obviously being a chairman of a huge, massive business, and at the same time, obviously being a lord, people will say, well, okay, how accessible are you as an individual? And also at the same time, obviously being highly intelligent like you would obviously notice what sort of character that you want to come and work for you in your business. What sort of personality traits do you look for in an individual when they come to an interview, and then that person's either sincere or not sincere?
It's very simple. Their CV will tell you everything. If these people have been job hopping, in 1 year they had 3 jobs, they are not the right candidate for you.
Mm,
So if somebody has a job and he's been there for 3, 4, 5 years, and for good reason he's moving because either he was not given opportunity to progress, or he is relocating, or the company is not doing so well, or company closing down, or whatever, then that's the type of people we. It's the material which is very, very important. No matter how clever the tailor you are, if the material you are handling is not good, so we suss people out. Is he an ambitious person? Is he adaptable person? Does he have desire to progress? Like that. You can see. And so many times I have seen people from their CV. Uh, they've given me very big claims, and I said, okay, fine, I'll give you 3 months trial. I don't want to be judge and jury. I'll give you 3 months trial, and if within 3 months I find that the CV you gave me was highly inflated, and then I'm afraid we'll have to part company. So you have to be careful when you're employing people. The staff is the number one ingredient of your company. It is the staff which will make and break your company. If you get the wrong staff, you will end up carrying passenger liability. Instead of they making money, you will make money for them. So, selection of staff has to be very, very careful. Their track record, their achievement, their qualification, their skills of dealing with people. So, very important. You have to read from the CV.
are you a strict businessman, Lord Ranger?
I have to be strict businessman, because the competition will not show mercy on me. If I relax and I become very pally-pally with my staff, and I say, okay, come anytime you want, go anytime you want, I will be destroyed by my competition. So therefore, you have to be mindful that you are in business, you have challenges, above all, you have competition, and you have to be ahead of the competition. How you can be ahead of the competition? By giving good service, good prices, and good product. And service is very, very important, because people will pay 1 or 2% extra if they like you. Before you sell anything, you have to sell yourself. If they like you, they trust you, they will do business with you. But at the same time, there are no shortcuts to business. You have to be focused, and you have to go to exhibition, trade shows, to give your showcase your product and services, because hidden talent is no talent. If you just keep looking locally, we are a global country, we are a trading nation. We have to look international markets, and we have to go where the customers are. For go to China, go to Japan, go to Turkey, wherever. So we exhibit. That's how we are in 130 countries, because we have go there in the trade show. You only see serious people. You don't see time waster. They are there. Ambitious people want to grow.
In Hindi, we say nazar. Nazar is obviously a part of jealousy in terms of one who is doing extremely well, like yourself. How do you deal, Lord Ranger? Obviously, you've developed such a huge career for you and your life and your family's generations. How do you deal with people that are, well, let's be straight and honest, that are not on your side, and also at the same time very jealous of what you've achieved? How do you block that out, and how do you deal with that?
Kiran, it's a very interesting question. I tell you something. First of all, I'm a very God-fearing man. Yeah, I
Mm.
believe in God, because invisible power, I think, is always watching me. That I have to do the right thing, even if the policeman is not. God is watching me. So, as a God-fearing man, I believe my success was the blessing of God and my late mother, who blessed me, and they are more powerful than anyone who can have this bad feeling about me. And if once upon a time when I got Queen's Award and I felt my friends were now becoming very jealous of me, I went to my mother. I said, "Look, these friends are really changing my friend. And her advice was, son, income tax and jealousy are attracted by very lucky people. You're becoming luckier, so be happy." So if you pay a lot of income tax, a lot of people are jealous of you, just smile. That's the will of Almighty, and you just, that's what she said. Efforts are in your hand, rewards are in the hand of God. You do your bit and leave the rest to Almighty. Don't bother with these people. I mean, if you go, Churchill had said, if I stopped and threw stone at every dog who barked at me, I will never be able to reach my destiny. So ignore these people, and your life is not meant to please them. Your life is meant to please yourself, your family, your country, and that's it.
I want to know more about you, Lord Ranger, because obviously you are a very interesting character, and it's great to have this discussion with you. I want to know about you more as a father and an uncle and a family man. Now, there's conspiracy, not there's stories out there that they are billionaires and millionaires that have launched these businesses, and at the same time, when their children, when you get to a certain stage, which you've done really well by still working today at your age, but obviously there's going to be a time where, as us human beings, we pass away, and obviously then we transfer, the work to our children. Do you want your children to take over and be given it on a hand plated, or are you the kind of person where you want your children or your family to earn it like you did?
That's a very interesting question. First of all, one has to realize that if you bring children into the world, you have a family, your wife, your children. I have three daughters, by the way.
Mm,
I cannot, as a father, be at the top of agenda for anything. My children will come first.
mm.
I have made sure that they are secured, uh, financially, otherwise they have property, they have whatever. Because I rather give my children money in front of my eyes when I can see them enjoying and I can join their enjoyment, or I drop dead and they get everything after I've gone. So that will defeat the object. So I have already made up my mind that I have enough, and I've shared it with my children, and I keep sharing with them, because when they celebrate, I enjoy and I watch them enjoy. and that's the great feeling. Rather than just be a tight father, make them suffer, and then one day you drop dead, and they say, "Thank God he's gone." Yes. So that is not the way I would like my children to remember. They'll remember me as someone, because I gone through poverty myself, and I never wanted them to go through the same process. So I have made sure that they have ample. They are never jealous of me, or they're not jealous of each other, because they have got enough already. I've also made a trust of my property where after I've gone, they will all three girls will have equal share. One girl is a counselor; she wants to be in parliament. The middle one is a gold medalist doctor. She's a consultant with NHS, married with a consultant NHS orthopedic surgeon. So they are medical profession NHS. They have no time for business or whatever. I've also many times I said, she said, I enjoy serving people. We love when we meet, go to hospital, and we can make people better. So that's the. And my youngest daughter is an LSE graduate with scholarship, and she worked for Google and PwC. They're all bright children. They've gone after their mother because I was too busy building my career. So my wife takes full credit for my success and for the family, wholesome family we have. And the youngest daughter has a own business, cosmetic business. She replicated. I'm in food business. She's in ladies cosmetic, and she's doing extremely well in all over Middle East. So there you are, and they're all very well provided for.
I want to talk more about politics, uh, Lord Ranger, and then we will wrap this up because I know that you've got to continue your evening. I want to talk more about politics. Now, obviously, recently we had Rishi Sunak just before Keir Starmer, obviously being the first Hindu prime minister. If you go on social media, you will say, well, you know, people have their own judgment about him because maybe he was brown, or maybe because he was a Hindu, they didn't take him seriously, regardless how intelligent he was. First of all, my question is, do you think Rishi Sunak was the right prime minister for United Kingdom, but wasn't taken seriously because of his skin color?
Very good question. First thing first, Kiran, you have to understand the beast. Politics is a beast. If you're doing well, you're not doing well for me. You're doing well for yourself. So
Mm,
therefore, I have to push you to come forward, or I have to prove you that I can do better than you.
mm,
Politics is a game where there is nobody show you any consideration. It's either you or me. Yes. So let's start with Rishi Sunak. Rishi Sunak was the second choice. First choice was Liz Truss. Liz Truss, you know, crashed the economy. Uh, she went against the advices of the Bank of England or the economist or the, you know, financial advisor, that you can't borrow money to cut taxes. You're
mm,
only going to fuel inflation. You know what happened.
mm,
But Rishi Sunak, on the other hand, was a very bright, intelligent person. He had a track record as a chancellor when he saved industry, saved lots of jobs, lot of livelihood of people, families, by doing this furlough scheme and pumping money into keeping the businesses alive. Because once you lose your talent, your staff, it's very hard to get by. You know, it's taken me 30 years to get all this cream de la cream staff, which I got it. If I close down, they'll be gone and it'll be lost to everybody. So Rishi did very well that he was selected by his team. Now, he had many things against him. First of all, the Conservative Party was in power for nearly 10, 11 years. Yes, so people wanted to change. Number two, there were so many challenges of Brexit. After Brexit, we had a lot of challenges also facing this one. And thirdly, the challenge was that he was given very poor advice to call the election 1 year before the time was up. The timer was very, very bad for him because there were so many things happening at that time when people just wanted to see, let's have new horse, new prime minister, will We'll do better. So, but I don't think it matters whether you're brown or black. What matters is what caliber you have. So Rishi did not come to politics because he was uh, brown, or he didn't come. He didn't become prime minister because he was Indian. He had a merit. His colleagues selected him in parliament because who worked with him, he knew that he is an intelligent man, is a clever man. But in politics, if you, whatever Rishi said has come true, because the Labour Party gave so much promises, we'll give you this, we'll do this, we'll do this. You know, the feel-good factor was from Labour Party, and you can see Keir Starmer is gone in 2.5 years. Now we got Andy Burnham. We do not know how long it's going to last. When you are not in, when you are in opposition, you can make promises right, left, and centre. But when you are in government and you have the you are privy to all the knowledge of the economy and which what is happening, then it is very difficult to make a judgment or your promises to people. So that is number one. And a couple of things Rishi did wrong, which was the non-dom, where we had this non-dom thing. We got rid of all the rich entrepreneur people to countries like Dubai and Monaco or Singapore, because you can't blackmail people that we're going to punish you for your success. In fact, we should attract rich people, because there's many ways to get benefit from these people. They'll buy properties in UK, they'll go to restaurants, they go to hotel, they build factories, they will do this. By having a punitive taxes, you drive them out of the country. Now we lost everything. I don't know how many millionaires have left UK, because when I was in Dubai and the estate agent said to me, the greatest uh, promoter of Dubai is the British government. Yes, they are sending us people, we can't even cope. There's so many people are coming, the prices have gone through the roof for the property. So we should be attracting rich people, entrepreneurs who have made money, rather than penalize them, we're going to take advantage of your wealth. No good. Because short-term gain, always long-term losses. So that was number one, Rishi's problem. Number two, people used to get VAT refund on the airport. Yes, they have stopped that. Now people go and buy in Barcelona, the goods in Rome or whatever. Yeah, why? People are taking product to their family, their friend, to give present. So if they want to claim VAT, let them. And I wrote to the Chancellor, and they replied to me that £500 million was saved by refusing the VAT refund. And I said, you lost £38 billion worth of turnover. How many companies will suffer? £38 billion is a lot of money. You nearly £2.5 billion a month. Product and services people are not buying because of your short term. You should never, the country should be open to business, welcoming entrepreneur, wealth creator, risk taker, rather than just keep punishing them and keep giving benefit. When you give benefit, you in fact destroy the ability of a person to achieve. If I was on benefit, I would be sustaining thousands of British jobs. I'll be going hand to mouth. Nobody becomes rich on benefit. So benefit system should be for weak and vulnerable, not a way of life. You're paying able-bodied stuff. I remember in 1973 when I was running KFC, and I employed a guy, assistant manager. I gave him £30 a month, a week salary, and he said, after he interviewed me, how much the job pays, how many breaks I have, how many holidays I have. I was, people used to interview you. The union was that strong. So he interviewed me as an employer. I passed, and then I said, okay, I'll give you £30 a week. And you know what he said? Kiran? He said, oh, no, 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 no. I can't be cruel to my children. I said, what do you mean? Working and you're cruel to children? No, I'm getting 32 on the dole. So why should I work? So Labour Party, to getting votes, they cause immense damage to United Kingdom. How many jobs have been lost? How many factories? Where is Dagenham Ford? Where is the coal mine? Where is British Home Store? Where is John Lewis? Where is all this gone? Because the cost keep increasing, staff cost, this cost, that cost. you know, people can't sustain. Now, you tell me, is it a good policy? We should be user friendly to people who work 7 days a week, 6 days a week. I work, we're not a Russia, we're not a socialist. We need to encourage people to be, entrepreneur and, realize their ambition and dreams, but never punish them.
Last few questions, Lord Ranger. Diversity, lack of diversity. When I was a press assistant at the United Nations, and then I managed to become the assistant for Afzal Khan, MP, in House of Commons for a good year or so, I noticed that there wasn't that many Asian MPs. I mean, we can obviously have that discussion where in talks of Indian footballers in the UK, and also at the same time, not many Indian people that are on television. Do you think at some point now, obviously, in terms of that old thought, well, doctors should be Indian, dentists should be Indian, we should have more creativity? Because obviously, as a lord, your voice would be heard much more than mine. And obviously, as you know, diversity is becoming a real lack, even though how much we give and how intelligent us Asian people are. Do you think there should be more to improve on politics, inside politics, and culture in terms of entertainment?
First thing first, I believe in meritocracy.
Mm.
I do not want to have a member of parliament because of his color or his religion or race or whatever. I want to have a member of parliament on his merit, who is an intelligent man, who can represent me, who can take care of me. So diversity is very good, but you cannot have a pilot of your airline you're flying, who has just been given a job because of his diversity. He looks good. So totally wrong. A doctor, engineer, scientist should be on merit, not because of diversity. So then number two, United Kingdom has given equality to all.
Mm.
You can all come. There are criteria. You meet, you come, you do. A lot of Asian people were struggling. They wanted to secure themselves. Uh, first priority is to have you secure yourself before you're thinking of doing the good things and the securing other people. So charity begins home. So you have to be secure to be able to look after your family unit. So many people were doing that, and now the next generation are in public life or in politics, but it takes time,
Mm.
because you can see Jewish people, yes, they've been here over 100 years, we've been here for 50, 60 years, 70 years, so we are behind them, but the Jewish people are already in every aspect of British life because they had a head start coming here. So I do not think that we can just offer people opportunities because they are politically correct to see. I want to see people who have merit and who will be able to do justice when elected.
Do you not think, though, Lord Ranger, that having this discussion, and it's great that you've obviously earned the life you've earned by obviously coming from India, but not many people as fortunate as you are in terms of luck, strength, mindset. Now, what I'm trying to say is, why are we having this conversation? Does that not psychology make you realize that we shouldn't be really having this conversation in the first place, if at the same time the world shouldn't really be judging people on the basis of their skin color? We should really accept people, because I come from a family that we should always accept people for who they are. It doesn't matter if you're black, white, Indian. I'm no better than a white person. No one's better than, I'm no better than an Indian person or a black person. We all should be equal. But having this conversation about we should open up the doors diversity, isn't that a bit of a situation that we need to look at and go, why are we having this discussion in the first place, if at the same time that we are a multicultural country?
Well, first thing first, the government has accepted diversity, they respect diversity, and they protect diversity through law.
Mm.
You cannot discriminate anyone on the
Absolutely.
basis of their race, religion, and gender. So diversity in United Kingdom is accepted, respected, yes, and also protected. So we agree on that one.
Yeah.
Then at the same time, people are given opportunity because it's a competitive world. You have to be the best among the rest. If you are, let's say, my color, I believe I'm an Indian, I'm in a English country, I now have to do something better than the English guy. If the guy has a choice, there are three candidates or two candidates. One is an English guy, I am an Indian guy, same mark, same everything, you know, qualification, we pass the same. Now, I understand, I believe that he will give job to the white man because he understands their culture, they understand their psychology, he understands them better than he understands an Indian guy. So, for me to overcome, I have to become slightly better than the guy next door. Yes, I have to demonstrate. I don't have a divine right. Yes, people who accept that I should be respected. Why? You have to be respected on your merit. So I have achieved success in business. I compete with the best in British company. I won 5 Queen's Award. No company has this because not because you have to treat me diversity and all that nonsense. I wanted to make sure that I'm better than the white guy, and you can be better than the white guy, not because of uh, your expectation, but because of you can actually demonstrate that I will do better job. And I tell you one more example. I joined McCain International Food Business after I was made redundant with KFC. It's called attitude. Attitude is very important. So I went to get a job in a salesman job, and the guy said, "You never done sales in your life." I go, "Yes, I know." How will you overcome? I said, "I'll make more calls than the guy next door. He'll make 4 or 5 calls. He's arrogant. He's confident. He'll go home. I will do 10 calls." Yes. And he said, yes, he liked the idea. And he said the job was £4,000 a year at that time. I said, I'll take 3,500 to start with. I said, you give me 3,500, less than the guy you're going to give it to Englishman or whatever. I take less money, and you review my performance in 6 months. After 6 months, he gave me £1,000 raise. Attitude. You have to sacrifice your short-term gain for the sake of bigger in future. Yes, don't you got to really accept certain challenges, but don't say I want to be treated like this, I want to be treated like this. You got to make them to treat you the way you want to be treated.
I also want to ask you one final question because clearly it's such a complete honor for me to be able to ever speak to someone like you who've achieved so much. And I know from listening to you in terms of your story, I want to ask you some advice towards me as an individual. The reason why is because, not many people are able to ask such a sincere and such a influential person like yourself. So I'm going to take this opportunity to ask. For 20 years, Lord Ranger, I was working for X, Y, and Z, numerous of newspapers, arranging interviews, etc. I've decided to now launch this podcast, but at the same time, I've now finished my job where I don't have any more economical background, where I'm actually now just trying to launch this podcast in order to get this done. Obviously, risk is everything. And in order to get this done, and if it doesn't get done, then my safety net has obviously been taken. But because I was sick at a time where I was sick of working 9 to 5, getting on the train, going back to London, going back and forth, paying my bills, as you say, like you said in our first half an hour, that you didn't want to do that. Get up, go to work, and then go to sleep. I also would like to do the same. What advice would you give to someone like me who doesn't have a safety net anymore, who really doesn't have any sort of economical background, who's pushing every single day to get this podcast done so we can get monetized? What advice would you give to someone like me who's risk taking this in such a deep manner?
Kiran, very simple. Things are desirable, no practical. I travel to city, Cheapside, every morning. I left my home at 7 o'clock, 7:30 to read just after 8:30 to open the shop and everything. And I did day in, day out, every day. And then I had to get my children ready, drop them to school because my wife worked for Ministry of Defence. She left 7 o'clock. I left 7:30 after dropping children to school at 8 o'clock, and so it was a very very tough life. So they said it was desirable not to have all this responsibility, but it wasn't practical. So it was very difficult for us to manage things. But I did not give up anything until I realized that I can go and jump to a better pastures, better location. So when I left Curry Electrical Shop, I realized that I'm going for this job and I can do it. And I asked my wife, will you support me for 6 months, which she did. As I said, without a partner, I don't think my achievement would be as much as you can see, maybe not even 10%. Because if I had to watch my back, I couldn't watch my front. I was not worried about my children. I was not worried about my home. That she was there like a pillar. So now you have started. You now have to make sure that your channel has more subscribers, and then you can sell revenue to companies for advertising and whatever. The very fact you have taken this time, you demonstrate that you do have a will and desire to make something out of your life, which is the first step, that you want to do something. I want to go to temple. I want to go to church. That it came from you that you're doing. So that is, you're doing it because of your own desire, which is the best thing. You're not doing it because somebody's forcing you to do. So it is a journey. The effort you have made, the amount of work you're doing is not easy. And slowly, if you can bring all these people with a story to inspire humanity, to inspire youth especially, you will have a following, as and then you can sit back and you can get so many companies trying to advertise through your channel.
Do you also think, Lord Ranger, before you go, that the risk I'm taking by not having a safety net anymore, and obviously at the same time having to every single day push to get the next guest in order to feed the algorithm? So in the past 40 days, we've done 42 influential people. And obviously it's very tiring. Do you think what I'm doing is the risk I'm taking is stupid because I've left my job and I don't really have a backup plan anymore? What would you tell me?
No, I think, Tony, the job